Wealthy people know how to use debt to build wealth because debt is one of the most powerful wealth building strategies known to man. Let's find out how. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 4 ways you can leverage debt to build wealth. A lot of people say the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Most people say that because they don't know why the rich get richer. And one of the reasons the rich get richer is because they understand the power of leverage, and specifically the power of leveraging debt. So we're going to figure out how exactly to leverage debt so you can start cashing in on this powerful entity and leverage debt to build your personal wealth. Let's get it. First of all, you have to understand when people say the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, most people say that out of bitterness because they don't understand how to truly build wealth. The reason the rich get richer is because money has a set of rules. In fact, money is attracted to specific mindsets, actions, and strategies. And the reason the rich get richer is they understand those mindset, actions, and strategies and leverage them to their benefit. But one of the things I want to encourage you about, I want to encourage you to speak very well of wealthy people if you ever want to be one. Let's not take the idea that the wealthy people are the problem, because they're not. They just understand some strategies, how to add value to people, and that of course returns wealth. If you want to be a wealthy person, let's start seeing them as somebody to learn from, not somebody who is quote unquote the problem. The wealthy people I know are the biggest givers in the world. They give more than you can imagine to help people, because you don't really get there without caring about people to some level, because you have to add enough value to people in order to build that kind of wealth. The very first way to build wealth using debt is in the power of real estate. I am a huge real estate lover and owner. If you've been on my channel or followed me for any amount of time, our company's called Power Up Real Estate. We have the mission of helping 10,000 people build financial freedom by buying multifamily real estate, because it's such a powerful way to create cash flow and create wealth. Every deal we do, we leverage the power of debt. So think about this when we go into a deal. Let's say I'm going to buy $1 million property. That means I need to go raise about $300,000. So I go get $300,000 from investors, and the other $700,000 I go get from a bank or debt. I leverage debt in order to get that deal. And the power of debt, especially right now, is I can get interest rates at 3 and 4% that I couldn't get anywhere else. So I can get very cheap debt. And guess what? It's going to cost me 4%, but it's going to make me 6 or 7. So by leveraging debt, I'm going to make more money. That's one of the strategies that people use to build wealth, is by leveraging cheaper money than that money will pay them once they deploy it into their investment. And that's one of the powers of debt. We use debt on every single property, and I would encourage you to as well. Now, one of the things a lot of people ask me, especially in the debt category, is, yeah, but Mike, I don't have the power to get a loan. I don't have very good loan power. Well, make sure you watch our video, how to get $1 million loan, so that you can understand, what do you do if you can't get a loan? What do you do if you can't leverage this powerful asset of debt? I don't care what your credit score is or your income is, there is a way to get a loan. You just have to know how to strategize to get it. Once again, a strategy wealthy people know, and it's time you know that as well. Make sure you watch our video, how to get $1 million loan, and it walks through some ways to knock down that loan, what you're gonna do, and then what to do if you can't get the loan. Make sure you do that. But real estate is a huge benefit to leveraging debt to build wealth. You know, let me mention a couple different people just to give you the example of the power of debt. You got a guy like Dave Ramsey, who's an anti-debt guy. You know, he's a no debt, no debt, no debt. And you have to understand his clientele. He's mainly going towards people where debt would create a lot of payments, and they're not using that debt to create revenue. And so he's not saying necessarily 100% of debt is bad, although he definitely comes off that way. But he is saying that you don't want consumer debt, and he's 100% right about that. Now, where him and I disagree is he will also say, you know, save up and pay cash for a house. That takes way too long, in my opinion, and sometimes he will lend himself to saying, you know what, if you need to get a loan on a house, that's fine, but you want to get that paid off as soon as possible. Him and I differ a little bit on that philosophy. So you got a guy like Dave Ramsey, no debt, and he's worth in the 50 to 80 million range. Now, that's a lot of money, but here's what I want you to see. Then you got a guy like Robert Kiyosaki, who has $700 million in debt, and he's worth about $500 million. So you have two different people, one leverages debt and one doesn't. leveraging debt will build way more wealth, especially when you're leveraging it for real estate. Now, I want to make sure I back up and qualify debt. Leveraging debt for wealth means you're only leveraging debt for things that make cash. Well, let me back up and say this. I want to make sure we qualify debt, and you probably know this, but there's two different kinds of debt. There's consumer debt and smart debt or investment debt. And so what I want you to see is debt to just buy things is not what we're talking about. We're talking about only debt which you deploy those funds to make you more money than the debt costs you. If it costs you 4%, you're going to make 8%. Great, you're going to make 4% on that debt. The idea is that you're borrowing at a certain interest rate and you're going to make more on that money by deploying it in some level of investment. The second way to leverage debt for growth and wealth is by leveraging debt for businesses. In fact, there's things called SBA, or the Small Business Administration, where the government will actually loan out to small businesses at a very low down. Sometimes you can get into these business loans for 10% down. You get $1 million for only $100,000. You get an SBA loan, and banks will help you navigate this. You go to a bank for an SBA loan. They'll help you get an SBA loan. They'll vet the business, see if the business is making money, and you can buy a business in order to build wealth. But you can leverage debt to do that. And so here's the power. Again, what am I talking about? I'm talking about debt for investment, not just debt for debt's sake. And a business is another great investment. In fact, a business, if it's the right kind of business, will often make you more cash flow than real estate. Now, it often won't appreciate as steadily, and it's a lot more operational heavy, meaning it takes a lot more operations to run a business than it does real estate. So again, real estate is still my favorite investment, but for cash flow, businesses are awesome. And so another way you can leverage debt is by taking out loans to buy businesses or to start businesses. Before I go on to the last two tips, make sure you do us a favor and smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel so you are part of our family. Hit the bell notification so you get notified every single weekday when we put out a brand new video. Again, make sure you subscribe and join our family. We love to see our family grow, and also let other people know about this video. We would love to continue to help people leverage debt to build wealth. Let's get back to the last two tips. The third one is to leverage debt for freedom of capital. And what this means is you can actually borrow money to invest in certain things, not just real estate or businesses. For example, you can take on debt to free up capital. Like this, let's say you have a home and it's called a home equity line of credit, or HELOC, H-E-L-O-C, home equity line of credit. You can borrow money against your home and you can leverage that debt and put it into something that makes more money. For example, let's say you can take a HELOC out of your home at 3.5%, but you're going to invest in real estate and make 7%. You're going to double. You're going to make 3.5% just by your equity. If you have equity in your home right now, taking that equity out and deploying that into an investment is one of the most powerful things you can do, because that equity is just going to waste right now. You're not using it for anything. It's not giving you anything. But if you were to take a loan against that, place that into an investment that was making you money, you could leverage your equity in order to invest in things that make money. That's called debt for freedom of capital. It frees up capital so you can invest in things that make more money than the interest rate of the loan on your HELOC or whatever you're loaning against. And the fourth, and one of my very favorite, is debt for education. Yes, a lot of people take on student debt in order to get formal education. And if you're in an industry where you need formal education, a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, those types of things, I'm absolutely pro education. I'm not pro college for college's sake. If you're just going to find yourself or figure out, wait until you've done a little bit of that work so you make sure you're not just churning and burning dollars. But education is a powerful investment. But I'm not just talking about formal education. I'm also talking about self-education. The things that have changed my life more than anything are the people I've hung out, and the books I've read, and the things I've learned. Well, that's all self-education. And you should be investing and if you have to take on debt, do it, but investing in coaches, masterminds, online trainings, live events, groups that you can invest your way into. I'll tell you this, a lot of times the gurus that can really help you, you got to invest to get to them. But it's the best investment you can make. I've invested hundreds and hundreds, nearly $500,000 in coaches and masterminds and trainings. Why? Because it's changed my life. In 2014, when I went to my first real estate seminar, I remember I went up to my coach and I'm like, man, I really want to buy this house. We were going on a tour to learn, my wife and I both, how to buy houses off tax auction, how to go to tax auction and buy houses on back taxes. Well, my mentor knew this really well, so he taught us how to do this. So my wife and I paid $9,000 to go on this 2-day tour. Now that is a lot, that was a ton of money for us. We had to put it on a credit card, we couldn't afford it. But by going there, I went and I wanted to buy this house, but I didn't have the capital. And my mentor was like, well, why don't you raise private money? And I'm like, that is a great idea. What's private money? I had no idea. And then he began to explain to me what private money, there's actually people out there that'll lend you money. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Well, now because of his coaching, last year alone, we raised $10 million in less than a few months. Because the truth is, private money is powerful. But I invested $9,000 and it's made me hundreds, millions of dollars back. That's the power of investing in yourself and investing in education. So investing and taking out debt for education is another powerful investment to make sure you're leveraging this power of debt in order to build a real financial future. I also want to give you a free gift today. I want to give you our free multifamily masterclass, which goes through how to leverage debt for the power of one of the most powerful real estate assets in the world, which is multifamily apartment buildings. I have a free 60-minute training. I want to give it to you today. Go to freemultifamilymasterclass.com. We have the link in the description. Click on that, get a free 60-minute training. And at the end of that training, you can even book a call with our team and talk about your goals and your strategies for this upcoming year. Make sure you do that. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to talk with you, and I cannot wait to see how you're leveraging debt to build your future.